Hello, family, and welcome to Old Gods of Appalachia, Chapter 1. I'm excited to be here today. I'm going to be your game master, Kelle. I use he and him as my pronouns, and folks, we're going to be heading into this little slice of paradise we like to call West Virginia. Not only West Virginia, but our story is going to be taking place up near the northern panhandle in a place called Bleak Hollow. We're going to be going through this, and we're going to be developing our characters a bit as we go. This is episode 1, so we're still feeling it out. This is the first time any of us have played the cipher system here on Dork Tales, so we're going to be stumbling a little in the dark, and I hope you don't mind it. Before we begin, I think it would be very prudent for us to introduce ourselves and let you know who is playing tonight here on Old Gods of Appalachia. Starting to my immediate left with Christine.
Alright, so are we just describing our characters in this? Just us?
Introduce yourself to the family and tell us a little bit about the character you're playing tonight.
Alright, well, I'm Christine. I use she, her pronouns, and tonight I'm playing Flora Sinclair, our protector, and she is a cook on the railroad.
Nice. All right, over to Jen.
Hey, I'm Jen, and I'm very excited. I get to play Lily-Ruth Sinclair, a brand new teacher in the area.
Beautiful. Down beneath you, we've got Kelle.
Well, hello, it's me, Kelle from up the road. I'm extremely excited to be playing this because I think I have binged every episode of Old Gods of Appalachia at least once now. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm playing tonight Essie Sinclair. And she is a down-home woman, someone you can rely on for, help and in the regular and the not-so-regular ways, if you get my meaning.
And joining us for the first time in a Dork Tales exclusive is Charlie.
Hi, I'm Charlie. My pronouns are they, them, or she, her. I'm playing Louise Churchill. That was formerly Louise Sinclair before I got married to a holy man. I'm a very loyal speaker type that loves to work for not only my husband, but for the Lord.
Well, it's good to have you here. All right, family, I think it's time for us to head into Old Gods of Appalachia. Now, a quick warning. Dork Tales presents Old Gods of Appalachia is a horror actual play series based off the horror anthology podcast of the same name, and therefore may contain material not suitable for all audiences. In both cases, listener discretion is advised. Chapter 1. Bleak Hollow, West Virginia, 1931. It was not quite autumn when Lizzie Sinclair died. This came as quite a shock to those who knew the old woman, as she was both sprightly and hale, despite nearing her 60th year, and she had a particular love of the turning of leaves. Folks from all around the barren hill region of Bleak Hollow, West Virginia were saddened by the news, not just for the loss of what most people considered a good, if somewhat odd, woman, but also a loss of the delicious pumpkin pies and apple cobblers that Lizzie had become famous for making each fall. The Sinclair clan had never had it easy. When Harvey Sinclair, patriarch of the house and proud father of 6 or 7 girls, depending on who you ask, went down into the black bowels of the coal mines for his last trip, he left behind 8 mouths to feed. A small payout from the company was barely enough to rub 2 dimes together, but Lizzie made it work. She always made it work. But then again, Lizzie Sinclair was a woman with secrets. Some were the day-to-day secrets of what a widowed woman might do to put food on the table and clothes on the backs of her children. But some were stranger still. These secrets were ones passed down to her by her mother, and her mother's mother, and so on, and so far back, before their particular bloodline ever set foot on their patch of stolen land. It had been Lizzie Sinclair's responsibility to share those secrets with her own children, and she had even done so with her eldest, rest her soul. But when that girl died, the fire inside Lizzie dwindled, and she put her duty off. She had more time, didn't she? She did not. In the end, do any of us ever really have enough time? And now her daughters, the 4 who might still talk to each other at least, must now face the burden of that fumbled responsibility and the nightmare that follows in its wake. Our story begins in the house that Lizzie Sinclair died in. Essie, you're the one who lives nearby and took care of your mama when she was on her out. And as one of the older of the daughters that's still around, the eldest of the ones who's still around, I would say. The second born, probably.
Yes.
You find yourselves sitting there on a stormy day with that man across the table from you. He is bald and sweaty. The vestiges of his former hair part still stretching across that sweaty scalp, trying to connect dots that no longer connect. Liver spots appearing on his chubby fingers, up his sparsely haired arms. He sits across the table from you looking like a fish that was pulled out of the crick and don't quite know what to do with himself. Dressed in a three-piece suit with a button-up vest, straining so hard that you worry about shrapnel if the man so much as sneezes. He looks down at the papers in front of you with a sigh. Well, Miss Essie, I don't know what to tell you. I come out here as a courtesy from First National Bank. And your mama's finances, they weren't good. I'm sorry, God rest her soul, but I'm not sure what we're doing about your property. There is a significant amount of debt here, ma'am.
Well, just how much do you think we have?
Well, how much do I think you have? Or how much do I think you have owed? Because I've seen your coffers, I've seen your bank account.
There?
How much is there?
Yeah, how much is the debt?
Was nigh on $600.
Well, yes, that sounds like a steep sum, but you know, Mama always told us that we could make it if we put our minds to it, and we're a resilient family. I assure you, we'll be able to manage this one way or another.
Well, I'm not sure you're going to be able to, because you all got to manage this right quick to make things meet. It is October now.
Yes.
And your first payment is in November.
Mm-hmm. And how much is that first payment?
Well, it's going to be at least $25.
Again, that sounds like a very steep sum, but I assure you, we'll manage. Don't you worry none.
Ma'am, I'm not worried at all. My station and state at the bank is very secure. I just don't want to have to deprive you young women of your mama's property. Might I suggest maybe going around through her things, seeing if you can rustle anything up, sell maybe some old jewelry? Go down to Winston's pawn, see if he can liquidate anything. I know that it's a little heartless to say that this close, and I'm sorry. I wish I wasn't the one that had to come and tell you this. Seeing your mama ain't even cold yet.
Well, sir, you know that we are a practical family, and if needs must, there's some things that we can part with.
Well, I hope so. The last thing I want to do is break y'all up. I already know the type of trouble that you had, that you gone through. You know, first with your father. Harvey was a good man. Bit rough around the edges, but he was good. And then your sister Francine.
Yes, those were very hard times, but you know we managed through those, and we will manage through this.
Well, I do hope so. Well, in the meanwhile, if you have anything that you could loan loan the bank as any type of collateral, or if there's anything that that you could do to perhaps assuage some of the bank's worries about this failing property?
A show of good faith, you mean?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. He smiles.
Well, you know that we are ever faithful.
He smiles with a bit of that eagerness. His teeth are too small for his gums as he does so. I think we're going to make our first roll of the game here, family. Kelle, I would like you to do me a favor. Now, do you have any skills that may be appropriate for this? To try to sweet talk or try to bargain or anything like that?
Well,
So this bank
yeah,
man, he's going to be a level 3 difficulty.
ooh,
Which
okay.
means when I say a level, we multiply its value by 3. So that means that on a d20, you're going to need to roll at least a 9.
Right.
And in fact, I'm going to up that 1 step because of the amount of debt you owe. So he is a level 3, but you're going to have to roll a 10.
Okay.
So, do you have any skills or anything that you could bargain to lower that price? To lower that difficulty?
Well, skills. Still learning about what kind of skills a sage has, and I've got that she has crafting magic, crafting, a supply finder, using magic.
Okay.
Yeah, useful. She is what is the eye? She is not trained or skilled in understanding magic, so she's not so good at the understanding.
So she ain't got no practical skills, is what you're saying.
Well, practical skills talking like homesteading, like looking after the household.
Does she? Do you have that on her sheet?
Not yet. I'm still learning that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So yeah.
If you don't, you don't.
Yes.
So that's totally fine.
Yeah, I guess I don't. So she's just straight shooting, plain talking
Okay.
woman.
So here's the deal. Because this is an intellect task, what you can choose to do, if you'd like, is you can spend points from your intellect. The total does not go down. Treat it like a pool to draw from.
Okay. And I do have 1 in my intellect edge. So
Okay, so that means that it is slightly less expensive.
Yeah. Okay. And I have to roll a 10
A 10 or higher
on a D20. 10 or higher on a D20.
on a
correct?
d20. So how much intellect do you want to spend into this? How much effort?
Let's put.
It does regenerate over time.
Yeah, but I want to make it interesting. I don't want to be, using all the effort all at once. This is first out of the gates. So I want to make. I mean, there's no fun if there's no challenge or something to go up against.
Mhm.
I'll just put maybe 2.
Okay, so that means you got to roll an 8 or higher. Go ahead and give me that roll.
Here. Okay, all right. Essie needs to save family farm. Oh, I got a 10.
Okay, so do you have anything on hand, a piece of jewelry or something that you can probably do it, or do you think this is just the strength of your goodwill?
She's gonna go with the strength of her goodwill.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as you're doing that,
She's also got, under the special abilities, I don't know if I don't think it counts now, but she's got wrap, meaning she's got a natural armor. The magic of the area envelops her all the time. So I think that's more for combat, but it would be a sense of assurance that she feels, I think.
okay, so how do you convey this to this man? Do you just put your hand on his and say, "You can trust us"?
Yeah, because she can use the magic, and she's connected to the green, so he'll know that this is a woman you can't fool, because this will be honesty.
Okay, so you put your hand on top of his, and with a warmth that belies internal strength courses through your touch on that sweaty, clammy hand of his. Well,
And what's his name? Sorry, what's
his name is Rory Milton.
Mr. Milton. Okay.
From the bank.
Well, yes. Well, Mr. Milton, you know that we're a hardworking family. We've always paid our debts on time. And you know you can trust us. If the bank needs some form of show of good faith, I'm sure I can find something to bring down and place on their altar of prayer, and they will trust me that we will make sure that this is all made good.
Well, I suppose so.
Thank you, sir.
That said, it
Good
might not.
man.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Well, I should probably be getting going. It was a courtesy to come down here and all, but
I appreciate your time coming out all this way on your own. And did you have enough sweet tea? Can I get you another tea?
oh, I'm fine. I barely finished this one, to be honest. I'm not much of a.
Dear.
Oh well, it was delicious though. Don't get me wrong. I need to thank you for your.
No, I understand. Your tastes run possibly to something a little stronger, I expect.
Oh no, not this day and age. No, that would be improper.
Oh, come now.
Um,
You know, a little magic in the hills don't hurt none.
well, I'm not
just
being.
kidding with you.
You're just joshing
You know
with
what
me.
they all say. Of course I am. You know, we're good friends now.
Well, before Prohibition, I did enjoy a snifter of whiskey. I even shared a drink or two down at down at the bar, down at the taverna, with your daddy back. Bless his soul.
Oh, he liked his drink once in a while too.
As a
Not
treat.
often.
Oh, he was a good Christian man. He had no problem abstaining. No, but he did enjoy, around the holidays. I did see him in there right before Christmas and around.
Absolutely. We made sure he had a nice drink to warm his stomach in the winters.
Well, I think I can see what I can do down at the bank to smooth things over a little bit. Maybe buy you an additional little bit of time. But
Oh, that would be most gracious of you.
I'll see what I can do.
Very kind. Thank you, Mr. Milton. Truly appreciate you coming out here.
Well, y'all take care now, Miss Sinclair.
You too, and my best to Mrs. Milton as well.
I'll tell Dottie y'all said hi.
Absolutely. Take care now.
With that, he gets up, says goodbye, and that
She'll walk to the door and, wave
head-
out the door, kind of like, thank the Lord he's leaving now.
and as you say that,
That man longer.
we're gonna focus in on that phrasing, that thank the Lord, because there's gonna be a lot of thanking of the Lord where we're going. There's a man on stage right now that Louisa is watching. Now, Louisa, can you describe your husband?
Oh, of course. My husband, Russell Churchill, is one of the most enraptured man that I've ever met with that preaches the Lord. I bought me this nice little camera so I can take photos to spread his good word. He has the black and silver hair. He's a little weathered for his good age, but he just smiles at you and you just feel seen. Very smooth talker, very gentlemanly.
And he is up on stage right now in the little soapbox stages that y'all bring for your tent revivals, and he is there in front of there preaching fire and brimstone into the Lord and talking about the praises of the good times to come and all of the things that come to those who are righteous and who love Jesus and who love all that is good in the world and who all love their neighbor and who give to that collection plate for the betterment of everything that is to come. And he is doing his best up there. And what are you doing backstage there, off to the side?
Well, like any good Christian woman, I'm here to support her husband. And so what I'm doing is I'm going in the crowd, passing the plate, giving blessings to everybody, a kind smile. They call it good sheriff, bad sheriff, but I'm always the good one. I ease them, knowing that like it's okay, hell's scary, but like we've got you. Don't you worry. Being here with me, you're never gonna see the brimstone. Which eases people's minds because Lord help him, he's a little excessive. But so I go around with the collection plate and I like hold people's hands and make children feel comfortable because passion and tact are not two things that he does quite well together.
Fair. That's absolutely fair. Now I need to ask you a question. How much are you trying to fleece him?
Not what does that mean exactly?
To try
Sorry.
no, absolutely, to try to get everything you can out of these folks, to milk them.
I don't. I personally, as a character, think that we're doing good. So
Okay.
I don't think that I'm trying to fleece them, but he for sure is. He's
Okay.
like, the more you give, and then I go around and be like, bless your heart. This is so generous. Like, she just doesn't connect.
And
the
he's up
two.
there being, y'all can't buy yourself a key into the kingdom of heaven with gold and silver. It is generosity that gets you remembered and gets you your stairway to heaven type of thing, right?
Absolutely. And then so I go around with like a very rickety basket, I think. Like, we definitely have more money, but we look poor
Okay.
for the bit. He like makes me wear like simple clothing and goes, hush, Don, like, thank you so much. As you see, we're just simple folk, and we just want everyone to be welcomed in and join us in the kingdom of heaven when their time do come. If you have any generosity, and then whenever people make big donations, because he's like, gold can't get you in there, can't take it with you when it die. They're like, this is going to good, like, thank you. And I think she's either naive or doesn't realize that her wealth is coming from these collection plates.
Okay. So as you're going through, it is going to be a nice little revival service. A lot of people coming up afterwards saying, oh, thank you so much. Bless you, preacher. Bless you, Miss Louisa. Ma'am, you look so radiant in that outfit. Says
Well, thank you.
old Phoebe Jones.
Miss Jones? Mrs. Jones?
Mrs. Jones. I mean, I'm a widower. Well, I'm a widow.
Oh.
But Mr. Jones passed on last December.
Oh, my condolences. I understand. My dear old mama just passed, so
I heard that.
I'll keep you in my prayers.
That's why I wanted to come up to you and give you your prayers. It must be so difficult for a woman like you to come from such a strange place as the Sinclairs.
Oh, I very much have had my time of rethinking and recounting and many conversations with the man upstairs, and though I don't always understand my Ms. Mama, but I do have love for her and all my sisters.
I'm not saying you're not. I'm very sorry. No, I'm not saying that you don't have anything to bless your mama's soul and all, but I mean, you heard the rumors. I've heard the rumors. You grew up with him.
Yes, I definitely did, and sometimes that's what they were, rumors of rumors, especially
sometimes?
in small towns. Ms. Jones, I appreciate you coming up to me, and she like grabs her hand, and I'm going to use, I have a skill of persuasion that I'm trained in as a speaker.
Okay, let's do it.
And I'm gonna hold her hand and go, Ms. Jones, as you know, via the rumors of your late husband when he passed, that some people just don't have anything better to do than start gossip and spread the devil's word. And I'm going to roll.
Ooh, yeah. I'm going to say that she's going to be pretty low. She's going to be a difficulty of 6.
Okay.
So on a d20, you're probably going to manage this.
I rolled a 9.
Oof. So you're going to shut her up proper. And as you kind of like pull her along and let her out the door, out the tent flap, she'll be the last main person to leave. Now Miss Phoebe Jones is pushing 60. She was around your mama's age. And as she heads out, some of the helpers are beginning to tear down some of the folding chairs and other things inside of the tent service and prepare them, because it is autumn. There's going to be some rain coming through here before long. And your husband walks up to you. Now Russell's a bit older than you. And he comes from this region. Does he come from this region originally, or does he just pretend to come from this region?
He definitely pretends. I think he's from the city. I think he always used to talk about how he turned away from, like, he's a big supporter of the Prohibition. His daddy was a drunk. He, like, did a lot of work for Prohibition. And so he very much is like, I turned away from the devils of booze, and now I'm a holier man.
Now here's a question: Does he follow Prohibition behind closed doors?
No.
All right. So with that, he's going to give you that look and say, "Well, folks, thank you so much for cleaning up here. I really appreciate it. Jethro, Billy, you keep stacking that up now. You hear? And there's going to be a nickel in for each of you. All right." I'll be seeing you along. We got to make sure that the God's payout gets to the right location. Sweet Louisa, would you accompany me, ma'am?
Oh, of course, my husband. And I wrap my arm. I put my arm in his arm to be escorted by him.
All right, and he's going to take you back to your. Now, do you drive a sedan, a truck? What do you drive?
I think that we definitely have a truck that we put the tent stuff in the back, a little old pickup truck.
Okay, so he's gonna walk you over to the old truck and slam the door, hopping in it with you. This old red truck, and he's gonna look over at you and smile at some of the people. How was the haul today? He says, the accent fading out.
We did pretty darn good. Look at all these generous donations. Man, the people always love to donate when people are feeling a little sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure would like it if a lot more of that was folding.
Unfortunately, around these parts, it's a little difficult. There are nickel and dimes everywhere.
Baby, can you hand me my tonic from the glove box?
No, of course. She opens it up, hands it to him.
He's gonna take a look around and pull a snifter beneath the dashboard, tossing it back a little bit, taking a bit longer of a drink than you might like him to. Now, true, this tonic is medicinal. He gets it from a doctor, but it is darn near, I suppose I should say to you, whiskey with a couple of herbs in it, perhaps? Sorry, I need that. I need that for my nerves after a show.
Of course. I do say we should go visit my sister Essie. She does have some more natural remedies that we could maybe try.
For Pete's sake, Louisa, I'm not looking to get any herbal teas to still my nerves.
I just and she just gets kind of quiet and nervous and very shut down. I just thought, Russell, that sometimes your nerves are so vast that you might need just a second, a thing to help you. Yes.
Well, that's your problem.
Sorry.
That's your problem, Louisa. You should leave the thinking to me.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I love you.
Well, I love you too.
Of course you do. You did real well in there.
Thank you. Of course, anything to support you.
I couldn't have better support than you.
Now you're just too
Damn it.
modest.
Billy stacking the chairs wrong. All right, well, how do I look?
Peachy keen.
Thanks, Puddin'. He'll give you a little kiss on the forehead, and we'll head on out. Now, hey, boys, I need you to rein that in. You're getting mud traipsed all over that. He slams the door behind him, leaving you alone in the truck.
The second he turns away and like I see that no one can look at me, I just like kind of everything like breaks down. I'm very like solemn. Maybe like either it's enraptured by the grief of like my mother, everything that's happening. I just like take a second of quietly, and then I put all of the money into our like we have a little collection. I'll say like it's a coffee tin in the back of the truck.
Absolutely, it's a coffee tin.
And then just kind of like take a breather, and then I will go out and take over so that Russell can calm his nerves more.
Oof. Oh, and as you go do that, you take charge real well. It is not too long before this tent service is tidied up. The rains are going to wash this out, and it's just going to be, you're going to be having to scrub the mud off that tent for days, or getting Billy to help, or maybe Rufus from around the way. And honestly, Russell hates for you to dip into the coffee can to pay them, and their goodwill's only going to get them so far. At the very least, you have to offer them each a nickel.
Yeah, I definitely offer them a nickel, and then I always I also, as one of my things, I have a baking set, so I always bring them fresh baked goods, and I always bring them extra to bring home to their families, because I know that times are hard.
Yeah, well, Billy Bannon is going to be particularly proud of that and happy for that. Billy Bannon is takes the baked goods off you. What is it, cornbread?
Of course, your favorite, Billy.
Yeah, Miss Louisa. Now, Billy is a strapping man of maybe 19 years old. Tall and broad-chested. Just managed to be born on the side of... he would have made a great soldier had he been drafted in, but luckily he is dodged that by, I guess, about the day of his birth. He's strong, strapping, dark hair with a little bit of curl to it, and a jaw underneath there that reminds you of something no less than a lantern. He smiles at you with dazzling white teeth. You know, I hear your cornbread is legal currency in some counties.
Well, I don't want to give myself too much credit, but people do come by and ask for some seconds every once in a while.
I'll have to make sure my family gets this, if I can restrain myself on the way home.
Well, she puts 2 extra ones in there. Well, just because you should never go hungry on a long walk back.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate, and she like puts like a nice arm, a hand on his arm, like in like a nice way. She definitely is not trying to do anything. She's just like, I appreciate all the hard work you do for us. You're such a hard-working man, and heaven bless the family that raised you right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. He smiles at you, and I would like to do a GM intrusion. So what I would like to do is I would like to give you, I'm going to make you an offer, and that is that that Russell is going to come out and see the two of you touching this handsome, strapping young man's arm, and you'll gain a point of experience if you allow this. And you may also give a point of experience to another player.
I'll take I'll put a point of experience to me, and I'm going to share it with Essie, because I think Essie has had a time again where she's like, you gotta leave, and I'm just like, no. So I think that she gets like except she being a sage, she gets a little sixth sense that something like messed up's happening.
All right. He's gonna come out and look at Billy, look at you. Well, all right, Billy, I think we're done for the day. Sir,
Go on, Billy. I don't need no more help. Please enjoy the bread.
I'll do that, ma'am.
And
Thank you so much, preacher.
And I very quickly, the second that Russell speaks, very quickly like move my arm back and take like a slight step back. You don't like when I pay them, so I speak to them nicely, and we do it. They do it for less.
Or they do it for more. He gives you a look.
No.
He's sweet on you. You sweet on him?
Oh my, no. It's, Russell, when have I ever looked at a man like I looked at you? I love you. And she, oh, I love you. I love you. I follow you around all the time. You are everything I've ever prayed for. And she like gets real close to him and is like, there's nothing that and she like caresses the hand. She's like flustered but trying to say the right thing. And she's like,
so can you make me, I want you to make me, let's make me an intellect roll, try to charm your way out of this.
all right.
And I'm going to say that your husband is a bit of, he's been drinking. So I'm going to say that he's level 4 because this is a bad relationship. I'm going to say you're going to need so it's a 13. Now, what do you have to ease this?
Okay, so my skills are understanding motives, deception, intimidation, and persuasion.
Okay, so persuasion's going to ease that down to 12.
Persuasion. Yeah.
Okay, now are you an expert in any of these or just trained in it?
I'm just trained.
Okay, so 12. Now, do you have anything else that you think any equipment that you might?
I do have I have a journal and a pen, and maybe I show him, maybe in our first years, I wrote this really nice love poem for him, and every time he gets worked up, I reread it to him to be like, "Don't you remember?"
All right.
Yeah.
So then I'll say that takes you down to an 11. Go ahead, give me a roll.
Okay.
Are you spending any effort into this?
Nope, but I got a 5.
Oh. He's gonna look.
No.
He's gonna look at you, and there's a little bit of wildness in his eyes for a moment. He goes, and then suddenly it passes, and he's calm again, and he's smiling again.
Oh no.
You know, it's probably just your mama. You're a little shooken up from that. I understand. Tell you what, you know how I said that we were going to head down to Marion County for next week?
Yeah.
How about I just do it myself? You go spend time with your sister. I insist.
Are you sure?
I insist. I could take care of myself. You go get yourself sorted.
Of course. Thank you. That's
of course,
very
Pumpkin.
generous. Would you like me to make you some cornbread for the road? I can get it done by tomorrow.
Sure. I'll take cornbread. Make it good, just like you made it for Billy.
I'll make it even better. She's gonna go bake and shake.
Bacon shake.
Shake and bakes, yeah.
Oh, hi, Russell. Russell's not going to now, family, we're going to cut aside for a moment just to remind you that Russell is not going to have a pleasant end in this experience, if I understand correctly. I would not like to be this man, and neither would you. But meanwhile, as you go and cook that, you can hear Russell ranting and raving about how you just can't trust the O'Bannons, and how the Bannons, well, ain't nothing good come from the Bannons, and nobody from their bloodlines at all trustworthy, which of course is a bit of a misdirect. And sure enough, family, across the holler, there's something in place right now that is showing the character of the Bannons. For in a little schoolhouse on the other side of the holler, Lily-Ruth Sinclair is cleaning up for the day. Wiping off the blackboards, the new blackboards that were installed just before her tenure began as schoolmistress. Lily-Ruth, what do you look like?
Lily-Ruth is one of the younger sisters, because she went off to do her schooling in the big city, and has just recently started working as a teacher. And as luck would have it, she's come back to home, even though she would have preferred a posting elsewhere, but this is where she got sent. She keeps her hair short and tidy, mostly because as a teacher, particularly in these areas, your class is from your youngest to your oldest.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real grade division or anything like that. So she could have kids as young as, 4 or 5 kind of in the area, and they sometimes don't have personal space or boundaries, really.
Mm-hmm.
So she keeps her hair short and kind of close to her head. And she's on the short side, but she knows how to have a presence when she needs to.
So, as she's cleaning up for the day, all the kids have gone home, and it's, well, darn near 4:30 right now. There's going to be a little knock at the front of the schoolhouse, a little timid knock upon the recently whitewashed wood. Excuse me, Miss Sinclair? You recognize the voice of Jude Bannon, age 11, precocious, gap-toothed, freckled face, with the same curly mass of black hair that his family is well known for.
I think Lily-Ruth is like up on a little step stool trying to get the top of the blackboard. And she looks down and goes, "Oh, come in, please."
Sorry to disturb you, ma'am. My mama sent me back here, with condolences about your mama. She wanted you to have this. He's holding a ceramic container, a casserole dish.
I'll reach out to take it from him. Thank your mama for me.
I will. She said that she heard that you might be getting together with your sister tonight. And that it'll be good for all of you, made with some love. It's a recipe she said that your mama shared with her some time ago.
It smells familiar. Thank you for bringing this to me. You run on home safe now. You hear?
Oh, I'll be fine. I had a question. You said that next week we're gonna be having a spelling bee.
That's right. You've
Well,
been practicing your words.
I ain't too good at them. There's something a bit off with Jude. Now, Jude's a clever boy, but his marks are terrible. His arithmetic's good, but his reading comprehension's very low, which is kind of strange because you've heard this boy speak, and this boy knows quite a few words. Some of them proper for company, but as an 11-year-old boy, many of them aren't.
Yes.
I've been trying, but it seems the longer they are, the harder it is to... Oh, ma'am, I think there's something wrong with me.
Oh, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with you, but if you like, we can either work on them together, or when it comes time for the spelling bee, we can maybe make you judge.
You do that?
Sure. But you gotta promise me you gotta try learning the words first.
I do try learning the words. I try learning the words, but they get all jumbled up. It's like the letters are doing a dance.
Well, we'll talk more, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You run on home now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. He scurries out the door, and looking down, you can see this ramekin, this ceramic container. It's well loved. You'll have to get it back to them pretty soon, because the Bannons ain't never had much money, and you reckon that's probably one or two that they have in the house, maybe three. And looking down at the green beans and cheese and potatoes inside that casserole, that wasn't too much of a cheap meal that they passed on. But you know for a fact that when Mrs. Bannon was ill about 10 years ago, well, actually about 12 years ago, if math serves, right around the time she was pregnant with Jude, she came under a little bit of an illness. None of the doctors really paid her much mind because she didn't have money to pay them. But she went to your mama. And your mama knew the types of herbs that would help get a woman through that type of predicament in one piece with the baby. And sure enough, that little boy is the result. The Bannons have always done good to try to pay back some of that debt to your family. And you know they're stalwart friends if you need them. Which is good in a place like this. What's the rest of your day looking like, Lily-Ruth?
Well, I think that there's the rest of cleanup, which she stalls at a little bit. She takes a little longer than she needs to.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, she knows she has to go home. Back to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And at least she's not showing up empty-handed this time.
This is true. You stall as much as you can. And then you start making your way across town. Now I need to know, are you a sage as well? You are a sage as well, right?
No, I'm not. I'm an explorer.
Oh, you're right. You're an explorer. That's correct. Oh, that's right. You're not a defender. You're an explorer. That reminds me. So on your way back, you cross town, and it's a normal walk, a bit chilly as the night begins to settle in across this little burg that is nestled in there in the holler. Barren hill on the horizon, full of flint, unable to keep any type of green on top of it, but shading down during the summer months. Of course, that ain't helping you right now. Right now, when the leaves are changing, you sure wish that weren't there so you get a little bit of sunshine before it dips below the horizon. But you are making your way back across, walking. Or do you have a bicycle?
I actually hadn't picked my second expensive item, so I could have a bicycle.
You could have a bicycle. The roads
sure,
around
I have
here
a bicycle.
aren't great, but with a little bit of riding practice, you can make your way there. You tie down the ceramic, and you make your way back toward your mama's house, knowing that you and two of your sisters are going to be meeting there. Essie, to talk about what happened with the bank. And there's always a chance Louisa might be dropping in. Lord help that girl. The choices she's made in life.
There's a reason I wanted to get my career started first.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to end up like her. Trapped in a marriage that might not be loveless, but not the type of love that you would prefer for yourself. And as you're riding your bike thinking these thoughts, a dog runs out in front of you along that road. That old, bumpy country road that was going to take you home. Now, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to make me, let's say this is a speed test. So, this dog runs out in front of you chasing a squirrel. The squirrel chitters and tries to run up a tree on the far side of the road, but this dog, which is this saggy, faded beagle with a big white-tipped tail, is going to run out in front of you. You swerve to avoid it, and I would like you to make me a speed test. Now, this beagle's moving pretty fast, so I'm going to say this is going to be difficulty 9. So, level 3, difficulty 9. Do you have anything that can make this faster? I'm going to say this is a good bike, but it's a bumpy road, so that's going to even each other out.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to help with this.
You have nothing to help you with this. All right, would you like to put any effort into this to not crash on your bike and destroy this ramekin?
Yeah. I feel bad for the family if I destroy it, so yes.
All right, go ahead and give me that roll then. How much effort are you going to put in?
How can you remind me how effort works?
So the way effort works is, do you have a speed edge?
No.
All right, so the effort works like so. The first point of effort, for every level of effort spent on a task, the task is ease. It costs 3 points from a stat pool to apply 1 level of effort, and 2 points for every thereafter. So 5 points for 2 levels, 7 points for 3. And if you have an edge, it reduces the cost of that.
Yeah.
Okay, but if I have... Hold on a second.
So what is your total speed?
So my total speed, my speed pool is 10,
Okay.
and I believe I have 1 effort.
So if you have 1 effort, you have a maximum level of effort that you can apply to a single task. So you can spend 3 points to reduce that by 1.
No, that hurts too much. Never mind.
All right. All right, so go ahead and give me that roll. That is going to be at 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. First roll on a new die, it's a 16.
16, you're going to swerve out of the way, narrowly avoiding the dog as you swerve. However, I'm going to offer a GM intrusion. I'm going to say that you get out of there in one piece, but it's going to cost you a flat tire.
Yeah, fair.
Okay, so that's 1 experience to you, and you can offer a point of experience to whoever you'd like.
I'll give 1 to Christine for whatever.
For having to go
coming
last.
Up. Yep, for having to go last.
All right. So with that, you'll hear a distinct... Well, no, you'll hear a distinct pop. I can't make a pop noise, but a pop as the front tire hits a sharp rock. And your bicycle's going to need a little bit of repair. Nothing that you can't do, but it means you're going to be walking the rest of the way to your parents' house, to your mama's house, in the dark.
I have a flashlight.
Giving it a little shake and turning it on, you're going to make your way into the woods along that old country road. And I think that as we walk you through that old road with the trees leaning over, casting shadows, dark and deep, we're going to transition out to where the trees are a bit thicker. Now, Flora, you're lucky enough that as an employee of the railroad, your foreman, the one who hired you to do your cooking, is able to get you a cheaper fare. And sure enough, there is a railroad that stretches right by Bleak Hollow. As you're riding the rails right now, you're in the cheap seats, that's to be sure. Wooden, barely any cushion at all underneath you. Rattling here and there. You're far away from any type of fancy dining car or the types of fancy ones that they have coming out of the railroads in Pennsylvania. Although this is still the Lock Railroad. So you are finding it well, at least expedient. As you sit aboard that train, what do you look like? What do you do?
So Flora is like pretty stout. Not fat, but broad-shouldered, and her clothing's relatively loose, like loose sleeves, etc. to move with, but underneath there's muscle. There's a
Okay.
lot of muscle.
All right, so she's thick. That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're headed that way, what are you doing aboard the train? Are you just sitting to yourself? You reading a newspaper? Are you just looking out the window?
I think she's just gonna be looking out the window, kind of trying to like anger herself so that she's not having to deal with any of the people around her, mainly the men.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're giving you...
Can't leave any openings.
This is true. And given the way that you put your things down on the seat next to you, there's nobody trying to give you any of the business. To be fair...
And it is a fairly large bag, because
Oh,
I
it is
believe she brought all her stuff with her for the most part, which is just a bag full.
Oh,
But
there's
it's
nothing...
a fairly long bag because it holds on to her shotgun and her heavy rifle at the same time.
Okay, well, nobody's trying to sit there. And if they did, I'm sure you'd have some surprises for them. But as you're sitting there, looking out the window, anchoring yourself, there's a folded envelope on your lap that weighs as much as the entire world. Delivered to you, it was a telegraph. Sent through the Lock Railroad's internal telegraph service. It said, Flora Sinclair, stop. Your mama has died. Stop. Funeral to be held on the 29th of September. Stop. Condolences. Stop. It's the 1st of October. You missed the funeral by 3 days. Truth be told, though, that telegraph didn't reach you until the 29th anyway. And right now, you know that at the end of this, it's just going to be a lot of going through your stuff, going through your mama's stuff, looking at all the childhood things that you left in the basement there when you packed up, ran off with the railroad. There's a little bit of apprehension in you, wondering who's going to be there. Ain't been the same since Francine passed away. I mean, how many years have been since Ameline ran off with Mama's money? How many years have been since you haven't been home? Hell, when's the last time you've been in a town this small that wasn't part of a railroad camp?
Far too many.
As you cross over the Appalachian Mountains, blue and hazy, surround your vision. And in a bit of awe, you head over this immense trellis bridge that spans between two of these old mountains, the bones of the earth. And you find yourself looking down hundreds and hundreds of feet into the valley below. It's a beautiful sight. One that shattered when before long you find yourself getting off at the little station, barely can be called such a thing, at the edge of Bleak Hollow. you're back in a town you ain't seen in the better part of, well, someone else's lifetime. And as you look around, you can see all the brick buildings. There's the church right there. There's what used to be a tavern, now a restaurant. A department store, or well, part of one. A tailor shop, mostly. The rest of it mail-ordered from Sears or JCPenney. Or Macy's, if you're lucky. All the way down from New York. But looking around, you find yourself with your big bag, the rest of your things. Looking not forward to the several-mile trudge to make it to the edge of your parents' property. Do you just start walking?
I think so. She's just gonna, I think, have a couple straps that she rigs with her bag to put it like on her back properly, and then she will just tighten her boots and start walking.
Okay. So as you start walking, you're going to make it a little bit of a ways when suddenly you're going to hear a honk come up behind you. This beat up truck pulls up alongside of you. And this pair sitting in the car grins out at you. The first is, well, a fairly buck-toothed, but otherwise attractive, red-headed woman. Pigtails, bright freckles all over her shining heart-shaped face. And next to her, a red-headed man. Same freckles, same teeth, same grin as they pull up alongside you, and this red-headed girl leans out the side of her truck and goes, "Is that you? Flora? You Flora Sinclair?"
Do I recognize her?
You are going to recognize Emmett and Miriam Kilpatrick. Some of the Irish immigrants that came in around the time that you were born, moved into town. The kids don't have the accent like their parents do. They got it thick. But they moved in. Some of your childhood friends. You know, you heard that Emmett was fairly sweet on you, but he's a year or two younger than you. And looking in the truck, though, damned if he didn't grow up into it. He ain't big.
Sorry, it was Emmett and
Miriam Kilpatrick.
Sorry, trying to parse like how to get back into accent.
Totally, you gotta take your time and do that. So she leans out the window and goes, "Flora Sinclair, is that you?
Miriam?
What you doing around these parts?" Emmett, I told you it was her. Yeah, I saw that.
Well, you heard about Mama, right?
Okay, I heard about your mom. I'm so sorry. Are you back in town for that? I figured that you might be coming back here.
Fortunately, I missed the funeral. The telegram only met me on the day.
Oh, that's rough. How far did you make it? You said you were going to go all the way out of the Ohio Valley. You were going to make it all the way up to down the coast. Did you ever make it to Maine? Did you see a lobster?
I have seen lobster. Not in the water, but...
Well, I mean, how are you going to see him in the water? Are you going to put your head under there? That's not going to make... With your hair, it'd get all frizzy.
Well,
You got big.
look who's talking.
You're bigger than Emmett. Oh, she is not. She looks fine. You look fine, Miss Flora.
Thank you, Emmett.
Emmett, you still sweet on her? Shut up and offer her a ride. Yeah. Miss Flora, are you headed back to your mama's place?
I am.
Get out and help her. Oh, sorry. And he's going to stumble out of the car with the opening the front door with a loud as the door creaks open. He's going to head around the side and go, may I take your bags? we got an extra seat in the. I could drive you out there. It's not too much of a trouble.
Well, thank you. And she'll pull her bag off and.
Seems like you got the weight of the world inside this thing.
All my worldly possessions.
You got. Is your rifle in here?
Well, yeah, I wasn't leaving it in camp for one of the lads to take.
Well, of course not. I ain't seen Petunia in a while. You remember how we used to go out shooting grouse?
300 meters, we could still hit them.
You could still hit them. I ain't got the eyes for that. Doc says I actually need glasses, but honestly, I got red hair and freckles. I got enough problems. He's gonna set them inside of his trunk.
Petunia, and I even got her a sister, Rosie.
What's Rosie?
Shotgun.
Woo! You know, are you sticking around for a while? Because turkey season's coming up.
I don't know. Well, I guess it'll depend on how much my sisters need.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's very inappropriate of me. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. Real smooth there. My brother, the charmer.
Thank you.
Sorry, my sister's being a loudmouth. Do you mind scooting? Sis, you mind scooting over? Making some room? No, not at all. Just consider me a third wheel.
Flora will grab the side of the truck and haul herself up and in real smoothly.
The truck is going to go.
Into Miriam and yeah,
the shocks of the truck are bad, and Miriam weighs about 110 pounds soaking wet. So when you sit in, the truck's going to wave a little bit. It's going to go until Emmett gets in and it balances out. The shocks of this thing are non-existent.
But Flora will slide in next to Miriam and just be like, "It's good to see you again, third wheel. Better watch out, you're going to have a nickname."
I already got plenty of nicknames. What are you talking about?
You want to add another to the list?
I probably could.
Teasing.
So what you been doing on the railroad? You like, are you like one of those coal shovelers?
Nah, I just keep them fed.
Oh, you always were a good cook. You still make that cobbler?
Of course.
What about that roast?
Can't do it for them, though. You imagine how many apples I need for that?
Yeah, you need a lot of apples. Well, if you ever need any supplies to cook anything, you let me know. I'll make sure you do it. I work at the Piggly Wiggly downtown, so, well, downtown. Look at me talking all hoity-toity. We got maybe 200 souls around here, and I call it downtown.
They have to get it fun somehow, right?
Ain't been much fun since you left. I'm so glad to have you back. Miriam's going to throw her arms around you and give you a big, almost rib-crushing hug. Although, given the size of her, she can barely get her arms around you.
I was going to say, can she get her arms around me?
She can get her arms around most of you. And she is surprisingly strong. Always has been. Not as strong as you, but surprisingly so. Now, the ride out to your house is one that is, well, comfortable, to say the least. The old truck bounces around those roads with the vigor of one of them milkshake makers. And you find your milk properly shook, if that's the type of terminology we're running with. Your brains feel a little looser inside of your skull plate. Your guts might feel a little shook up as well. And you're lucky that you left your gun unloaded, because a couple of these potholes damn near made one discharge. Or would have. The whole way there, Emmett is doing some dry commentary on top of the ever-present commentary that his sister is making, talking all about the things that have happened while you've been away, which there were exactly 4. There was a birth, there was a death. They built a new schoolhouse. That and, well, the mines. As you're sitting listening to this, Miriam's going on and on and on, and she mentions something under her breath, kind of, as she's going. Well, and then, of course, the mayor's wife died, and that was a bit of a problem. Then there was another death, and lots of deaths around here. But I mean, I guess that's just the way it goes. People get old, people die. And then, and then there's that whole problem at the coal, at the coal mine. At that, Emmett darkens a little bit. That's probably enough, Miriam. We're almost there. Now, Flora, you can let that go. Or you can try to find out a little more about what they're talking about with an intellect roll.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that could pry that out of people? Any skills that would help?
I don't think so.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to say this is going to be at a difficulty of 8. They are kindly disposed toward you. This is going to be difficulty 9 because they're trying not to tell you.
All right. So, sorry.
So you can roll you roll a d20 versus difficulty of 9. So you need 9 or up.
Okay.
Before you do this, you can choose to spend several points of your intellect to make it easier.
All right, and those come back after like a long rest type thing?
Actually, they come back pretty darn quick. The first one, basically there are stages of rest that you can use to heal or regenerate these points. The first one takes about 5-10 minutes at the most. The next takes about a half hour, and then it gets longer from there.
Okay. So difficulty 9, so I have to roll over that?
You have to roll that or over. Meet or beat.
Okay. I will just try the roll, because that shouldn't be
All right, let's see what you do.
bad. Nope, 4.
4. So as you, what do you do to try?
So I just kind of like, I think I maybe just try and lean into Miriam and give her a look of like, and?
Oh, you know how it is with them starting to... And Emmett gives her a look. A new tunnel, there's always people. They're trying to, is that your sister? She says, pointing up ahead. And sure enough, you're going to see Lily-Ruth pushing a Jocelyn bicycle with its front wheel blowed out down this dirt road about a half mile from your mama's place.
Yeah, that's Lily-Ruth.
Should I hit her? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
No.
Well, no, it's not a joke. I'm just joshing you. Oh, hold on. Lily-Ruth, you're pushing down the road when this truck comes up behind you, and you're prepared to get a mouthful of dust and bugs coming off this thing. But instead, it's going to slow to a crawl and roll.
So I have to change something in that because I have an inability to I tend to focus on details without truly paying attention to what's going on around me. Any task to hear or otherwise notice danger is hindered.
Okay, so in that case, you are unprepared for the dust clouds that have come before this and are not prepared for the one that is about to come. But as you are pushing down the road, a little bit of dust is going to kind of kick up, and suddenly there is a truck pulled over alongside you.
What?
Those troublemaking Kilpatricks are here. The one that works down at the Piggly Wiggly and the other one that works in the mine. They're here. And not only that, they got some strange, beefy woman in the middle with them. Come on, say hi.
Can I help you?
Well, I don't know, sister. Do you need a ride?
Flora? That you?
Yeah. Do you think I wasn't gonna come?
We were wondering. I'd love a ride. I avoided a dog and blew out the tire.
Well, here.
Was gonna nudge Emmett.
Okay, I'm on it. I'm on
Ribs.
it. He's gonna get out and go. Ma'am, I'll put this in my back. Okay, I got room in the trunk.
Let me just unstrap the ramekin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Is that sweet potato and green bean casserole? I ain't had any of that since that time I was over for Geraldine's birthday party. Back when, the 14th one. You talked?
Yeah.
You talked to Geraldine recently?
No.
Well, let me get your back.
Thank you, and I'll take the ramekin. Probably actually, hand it off to somebody in the truck. Courtesy of Mrs. Bannon. It was Bannon, right?
Bannon.
Bannon, yeah. For, our grief.
All right. Well, let's get it's going to be a bit of a squish, but I can get you there. It's only a half mile, so it's not too bad. Of course, I could always strap you to the roof, Mary. You could always try. I'll whoop you. Something fierce. All right then. Well, hang on.
One of us could bed surf like we used to.
You want to? I got
really,
some
no.
of mine in gear in the back, so if you fall, you're probably in trouble. But
If I do that and any of the children see me, I will never get that authority back.
I mean, I don't know. You might outrank them at that point. Be one of the most righteous school marms we ever had.
Well, I will try to earn that reputation a different way.
Look at you trying to be respectable.
It's what they taught me in the big city,
And he's going to amble down the road. Well, it only takes about another couple minutes to get there. But while you're making your way there, Flora, Lily-Ruth, you're sitting next to each other for the first time in years. Are you saying anything to each other or just letting the quiet wash over you?
Probably just letting the quiet and
Yeah.
do any of the saying out, not in front of others.
It is true. I know the others have listed an approximate age in our private chat, but do you have an idea of Flora's age? I just want to know how far apart we are.
In the middle.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe 23-ish. So probably Louise and Flora are probably pretty close to each other in age.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anomalene's probably the baby. Or Geraldine is probably the baby. One of those two. Taking up the rear.
Yeah. And, okay. So yeah, you probably left a few years before I did, basically.
Probably, yeah.
All right. And when you say big city, Lily-Ruth, which big city was that? Was it inside of West Virginia, or did you go further than that?
No, I think, well...
Because there's Charleston.
I guess that really depends.
There's Huntington.
Yeah.
There's Harper's Ferry. They're getting progressively smaller as you go.
Charleston's a port city, right?
Charleston is... No, West Virginia
No?
is completely landlocked. Now that said, you are right there. Basically, you're on the northern panhandle, so that means that you are brushed right up against Pennsylvania, which means you're right next to Pittsburgh. And if you follow the train down, you're actually not too far from Washington D.C., Baltimore, Norfolk, anywhere in Delaware. And you could have even, on a train ride, gone as far as Philadelphia if you really wanted to.
Oh, I see my issue. I knew of Charleston, South Carolina,
There's a lot of repeats
which
around
is a
here.
port city. Yes. But Charleston, South Carolina is a port city, and that's where I got confused. I think I didn't go to like big city. I went to like what we would think of as big city. So probably still West Virginia or just across one of the state borders.
Well, there's Columbus, Ohio, there's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then there's Charleston, West Virginia. Those are the ones I'm thinking probably.
Yeah.
You can tell me later once you've
feel
thought
like-
of it a bit.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you later because I'd like to figure out.
Absolutely, and the cities do change a lot about a person, so that's fine. You went to the big city. That's what's important.
Yeah.
And it changed.
That's
you.
what's important.
Absolutely, you learn how to ride a bike.
It did. Right? And I don't think I went as far north as like Columbus or Pittsburgh, so
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense quite a bit. So, you make your way, riding around there. The two of you sitting for the first time in quite a while. And soon enough, as dark is beginning to spread over the land, and Emmett's got to turn on one of his two headlights, turns at least, illuminated in the darkness as he bops down the road into your drive. You're going to see your mama's house in front of you, where you grew up. It looms overhead on this patch of land here at the, well, almost at the center of the holler. That house is old and full of memories. Places along all the walls where your heights were measured as you grew. Places where pets were buried in the yard. Places where you were taught things that most girls your age were not taught. And that's where you find yourself. The truck pulls in. Let me help you get your bicycle out, Emmett says, and hops out and pulls it out for you.
thank you. I think, just because I like this, but I think like Lily-Ruth probably had a little bit of a crush on Emmett, who then like had a crush on her sister because he's just that little bit older, right? And she knows she doesn't want that right now, but she does blush a little as he pulls the bike
Well,
out.
he
and she
with
thanks
proper
him.
time, he's going to age into kind of a not an opie, but he's definitely going to age more into like a Fassbender type of look. Like he's going to age into it pretty well in about another 5-10 years. He gets your bike out
Yeah.
and takes a look at it and goes, "Whew, I could probably patch this up for you, miss."
That would be lovely. I
Do-
can manage if you can't, but
You got enough on your plate. Do you want me to take this home for you? And I can take it home and patch it up tonight, and I can bring it back in the morning on my way to the mine. I'll just leave it out here on your porch.
that would be lovely. Thank you.
Of course, Lily-Ruth. Happy to do so. And Flora, it's good to see you too. Take good care of
Good to see you.
Petunia and
as well.
Rosie.
Thank you. Thank you for the ride. And she'll focus more on Miriam, having seen probably Lily-Ruth blush just a little bit. And she'll be like, all right.
And with that, Louisa and Essie, you had met up not that long before. Louisa being dropped off outside, and Essie already being there for the majority of the day. You're going to hear this rattly old truck with about to blow its catalytic converter, as well as a couple of other things out of it, parked in the front yard, rattling, one headlight glowing like it's winking at your house.
I think
she knows that's Emmett's truck.
I think before I look and see, I get a little tense and then look out, and then I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, it's just Emmett.
And
Just
as Lily-Ruth and Flora kind of turn from the truck to head towards the house, Lily-Ruth's just going to murmur, kind of under her breath, but just above the sound of the truck, you still call your gun Petunia? And Rosie?
That's the shotgun. It's a way to
Damn.
kind of talk about it, and that the fellas don't get too upset until they figure out what I'm talking about.
You must have so many stories.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me later.
As the two of you get out of your car and head inside,
You gotta tell me about the big city.
as the two of you say that and get out of the car, Essie and Louisa. Now, Essie, you've been there for hours at this point. You've been there most of the day, puttering around, trying to figure out what to do. But it was a bit of a surprise when Louisa was dropped off like she was. It was curt, the way that Russell did it. Drove up, dropped her off, said goodbye, and then peeled out, leaving her with quite a few belongings. Enough to stay here for probably a week. And you saw your sister deposited out on the curb. What did you do?
Oh, walked out onto the porch and look at her and say, well, you finally get tired of this, and you're coming home, or what's going on?
I'm here for Mama and Mama only. I just was grateful enough to be able to take some extra time off to help sort things.
Well, that's... appreciate that. Well, come on, let's get your things. Looks like you're gonna be here for a while. And she'll walk out and help grab her stuff.
She makes a point to carry more than her sister, to be like, I got this, thank you. But it's very how's like the home? Have you gotten sweet on anybody? Like,
Oh, you know that ain't for me.
well, you never know. There've been some strapping men coming through here since the mine's been operating.
No, thank you. Another minor. I don't need to put myself through that again. With Daddy, it was enough. So let's just get your things in and get you settled. There's some sweet tea, and there's some things I gotta get in the oven and on the stove before everybody else gets here.
Oh, I brought some cornbread.
Oh, well, thank you. Cornbread's always been one of your best dishes.
I learned it straight from Mama. May her soul rest in peace.
True. Come on, let's get you in.
She scurries inside and puts her stuff down.
Yeah. Settle in for the afternoon.
Are there past due notices sitting on a counter or anything?
There absolutely are.
Yeah, Essie would have them all in either an envelope or some kind of a file or folder that it came from the bank. Mama probably kept all their important papers in it, and she's got it there because there's no hiding any of this. Everybody who needs to know will know.
Whew. Mama never was one for savings, wasn't she?
Well,
it was hard for her to do so.
she had a couple $100 at one point, but that mysteriously vanished around the time your sister Ameline did.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know how hard it was for her. I mean, come on, she had 7 of us to look after and clothe.
Oh, I'm not. Many of us have been grown for
know.
years. That's all I was saying. Mama's been on her own for at least 2. So
yeah, well, she wanted to run this place on her own. She did her best, so. But here we are, so we'll just figure it out.
well, I'm sure I could. I'm sure that we could ask the bank to give us a little more time.
Well, they already are going to give us some more time. I don't think we have much, and I don't think we'll get much more. So we'll have to make do with what we're getting.
All right. I have I have a bit of savings. A little bit of savings. I could donate to keeping the house.
Well, we can all talk about that when Flora and Lily-Ruth arrive. We'll see what I think we just got to talk this over as a family and decide how we're going to proceed with this.
All of us in one room. It's been a couple years.
It's been a while, yes, but I think Mama's house can handle it. Handled all of us growing up. I'm sure it can handle 4 of us now.
And she just kind of drinks her tea quietly to end the conversation.
Yeah, and Essie will start puttering, peeling potatoes and chopping vegetables and getting everything ready to go into whatever magical cooking dishes she's got going.
Well, and sure enough, as night sets across the land, or at least begins to attempt to, the sun winking out below the mountains, you are going to hear that truck idling outside. And after a tense quiet between the two of you, that type of stretched out tension that, well, ain't uncomfortable, but sure as heck ain't comfortable. The type that you only can really get with family. It's nice to have something
It's
to break
okay.
it.
Yeah. It's all right, Louisa. It's just Emmett. It's just Emmett's truck.
Of course, I wasn't. It's a truck. I'm not scared. I'm not a baby.
No, I'm just saying. You know it's Emmett. It's all good. I'll go out and see if they need any help.
I'll set a couple extra places.
Sounds good. So Essie will go out and welcome her last 2 sisters coming to visit. Do we know where Jerry is? If Jerry is the youngest, are they still in town? Or
they went away pretty much as soon as they could.
Okay.
They always had a
Fair.
bright head on their shoulders, and well, they're somewhere. But I mean, the type of life that Jerry leads is somewhat a precarious one.
Well, we know that they've got whatever they need to keep them safe, and
Yeah, they do. And
if anytime they need anything, they know how to, ride home and ask for any help.
They didn't take it too well after Francine passed. But tragedy's tragedy. Your sisters are out on the porch. They're here now, and that's important.
Okay.
What do you do?
And she'll open the door and welcome the men and see if they need any help with their things. Well, it's about time you 2 showed up. Dinner's just about ready. You can fall in and get settled.
Got a I got a flat on the road with my bike, but Emmett said
Wow.
he'd patch it up for me. The
Oh,
Bannons,
that's good of Emmett.
Mrs. Bannon gave me this for the family.
Essie will take it, and she knows what that is. As soon as she takes it, it's just like, how well did Mrs. Bannon recreate Mama's recipe? I want to say she worked. She could tell that she really wanted to do a good job with it, and I think
she did a pretty good job. I can roll a dice for this if you want.
I think so. No, let's just say that Essie can tell that all of her respect and goodwill is in that dish. So that's the main thing.
It ain't your mama's dish, but it's the next best thing you're gonna get, unless you decide to make it yourself. But you're not much of a cook, are you, Essie?
She's got cooking, actually.
Oh, do you have
she's
cooking? Then
taken
never mind. I
cooking
take it
classes.
back. I take it back. I must have been thinking
That's
of someone
okay.
else.
That's all right. Essie does a lot of things, and well, this smells really good. We'll have to think. I'll send this back with a little note for Mrs. Bannon. It's really nice of her. Come on in. Let's get down to business. By that I mean dinner. I'm sure we're all hungry.
Louisa's
Very
gonna
often.
pop out and be like, Emmett, Miriam, are you staying?
No, ma'am. I gotta get going. I got a full day tomorrow. But thank you for the offer.
Oh, anytime. God bless you.
Now, I can stick around for... All right, I'll be going. Take care.
We'll see you two another time. Come on back.
Sure enough, the truck heads out, bobbing down the road like it's looking for apples. And before long, you're left there in the quiet, just the four of you.
Well, Essie will just start getting all the dishes put on the table. Obviously, serving family style. There's dishes of potatoes and probably a pork roast that's come out of the oven. Vegetables cooked around it.
The food is good. It's hearty and filling. And you sit around the meal, maybe enjoying a little bit of shine that was pulled from, or whiskey, or something else pulled from one of the recent stills and still operations that have been going around, bathtub gin, things like that. Or maybe just some tea. You can't help but
Whenever anybody
notice.
wants.
You can't help but notice that the pile of bills on the nearby table keep drawing everyone's eye. It's no secret that your mama had a rough time, especially after your daddy passed. But it's only a matter of time at this point.
I think Louisa speaks up and goes, well, I know that you guys are going to say no, but I think we really need to consider the option that we get the church's help. They're more than generous. We get in great donations. Russell can dedicate a service. People of this town, for sure, will want to help save Mama's house as
Louisa,
Mama's helped many of them.
Louisa, you know how Mama felt about that. I'm not going to disrespect her by going, behind her back now that she's gone.
Not disrespecting Mama. I'm trying to save Mama's legacy.
We can save Mama's legacy, I'm sure. I don't think we need to go around asking for handouts just yet.
Well, it's not a handout if people are willing to be generous. People donate every day. We give good amounts to people in need, and being in need does not make us any lesser.
I'm not saying that it makes us any lesser.
So why not accept God's good graces?
Because it's not how Mama lived her life.
Well, Mama lived her life by letting us deal with her problems.
in some ways. And then but she took care of a lot of other people's problems.
Was it Mama's problem or was it Emmeline's problem who took the money? Mama would have paid just fine if Emmeline hadn't run off with the money.
We owe.
That's true.
Flora, have you seen these bills? These bills are more than the $100 that Emmeline took and skipped town.
But it would have helped.
She would not have had the bills build up if she'd had the money in the initial place. Regardless.
Well, yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Why don't we see
arguing about what happened in the past that we can't do?
Somehow. I'm sure there's something, odd jobs we can maybe take on.
I can give some of what I'm earning once the paychecks come in.
I'd rather not take from the church yet, though, Louisa. I feel like your husband might then feel like he owns the place.
That's crazy. Russell refuses to own land. We're very nomadic. We bring God to the people who cannot come to God. I think that dedicating a service and having people, or even if we keep it out of the church and just do like a charity event, we aren't
a charity.
We're good charity.
Mama
cases
didn't
right
want to be
now.
seen as a charity.
Well, Mama sure did lots of charity with nothing in return, and that left us in this mess. Essie, you're supposed to be the eldest. You're supposed to... I loved Mama. I loved how much she helped, and I loved that she instilled the goodness in all of us. Every single one of us are a good, honest, hard-working person. But if Mama had a little more business sense and a little more thinking about the goodness and the materialisticness of this world, we would not be sitting here days after her funeral, which I'll add, not all of us could attend. And
now that's not
well,
fair.
now, Louisa, if you got the telegram to me before the day of the funeral, I might have been able to attend.
I wasn't in charge of the telegram. You know I don't write. That was Lily-Ruth.
We knew it was a chance. We knew it was a chance that it might not get to her in time. We didn't know exactly where she was. She did her best. We're here. We're all here now. That's the main thing. Arguing about how we got here and who got us here isn't going to do any good. All we got to do now is focus on what's going forward.
I have an overcoat we can sell. We just can't tell Russell.
Why can't you tell Russell?
Russell likes to buy me nice things as an appreciation, and I don't think he'd be appreciative of me giving away his gifts like that. But it should fetch a heavy price. We just take it down to the city and trade it, and I'll just misplace it, or I'll save up and buy myself another one later on. We're in the...
Well, if you want to, that's very kind of you.
Hopefully at least cover one of these down payments.
Well, we'll see what we can do. We still haven't gone through everything in the house yet. There's still those things out in one of the back sheds we got to go through, and we haven't even been down in the cellar.
Mama did like to hide things away sometimes.
Canned goods.
Well,
Lord knows she did.
And as you say that,
we should have a look. Worst case, though, I can sell one of my guns.
and as you're saying that, Lily-Ruth, a beam of light streaks through the window and almost blinds you as you're sitting at the table. A car is pulled up outside.
What on earth?
Now it's, well, damn near 9 o'clock at this point.
Were you expecting anyone, Essie?
No.
I'll be coming out here this late.
Is it a nice
Not many
looking
people
car?
would come. Not many people come around here this time of night.
I'll
look out the window.
Looking out the window, you're going to see very new modern sedan pulled up out front. The door opens, and a man dressed in a charcoal suit, three-piece with a hat to match, steps out. He's tall, well-built, with a bright smile, a very well-groomed mustache. He raises a gloved hand as he sees you at the window and smiles brightly.
Now, I would think that before she passed, or for most of the time, Lizzie Sinclair would have had wards around the property because, trying to keep the property safe, because there's things and Mama knew about things. So is he coming up the drive? Does he sense anything?
I'll tell you what I want you to do.
Or would the wards have... Okay.
I want you to know, I want you to give me a
with that.
roll to tell me how much you know about these wards, because the system does this.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is you're going to make me an
Yes.
intellect roll, and this is going to cost you
Okay.
1 intellect just for making it.
Okay.
So just while that's happening,
Mm-hmm.
since it's like Flora was kind of like, is it a nice car? Like, who is this? Like a neighbor or somebody fancy?
That's a fancy man.
She's gonna wander off to her bag and pull Rosie out
What is that?
and tuck it into a nearby corner so that she
Can't read
has it
that.
to hand.
13.
13?
Mm-hmm.
13 is going to be enough.
13.
Now, you know that there are several wards across the perimeter,
Hmm.
but it's the house itself that is the most warded. The insides of the beams, the inside of the door frame. This house, well, it's solid. The construction is studded and lined with metal. And it has many wards burned into the old wood. The man approaches, stepping onto the path, and walks up to the front door.
I'm gonna go open it.
Oh, as he was going to be like opening, and
I think
He's not
Lily-Ruth's
getting
kind of
across the-
coming up behind.
yeah, he's
just-
not getting across the threshold
curious.
right away.
All right, so you open
He
the
can come
door,
on
and
the porch.
this handsome man stares out at you. Good evening, ma'am.
Evening, sir.
Allow me to
Can I
introduce
help you?
Yes, of course. I apologize for coming this late at night. I was here to offer some aid. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is J.M. Thorne. I'm a representative from the Barrow Mining Consortium.
You want a barrow and locks, man?
Yes. Well, Barrow, to be precise. It is my understanding that you're in something of a predicament.
Maybe, maybe not. Where'd you hear tell?
Well, we own the banks.
You would.
Well, that's no secret around here.
Yes, well, business is good and good is business. I was hoping that I could offer a bit of respite in your moment of despair.
Despair. That's quite assumptive of you.
That's a $5 word for grief.
I can afford far more than $5. Well, I assume that your grief is worth far more than that. Lost your mother, lost your father, bless both of their souls, and now you'd risk losing your ancestral home. Did you not care much about this home?
Oh, we care a great deal about this home and everything within it.
I find the most important
I'm sure
thing. Oh, yes. I understand. I can imagine what it would be like to have some type of home to grow up in, to perhaps leave to children someday. That said, Memories, I find, are far more palatable than mere possessions. More insightful, more possessed. We're looking to expand operations. And knowing your family service for the mines, I'm here with an offer from the mining consortium. It is my understanding that you owe several $100s on this property.
Just get to the offer. We don't have all night here.
Dinner's still on the table.
And it does smell delightful, ma'am. Well, given the service that your father paid for the mines, and given the predicament that you find yourselves in, I was thinking I could offer you, let's see, there are 4 of you. Are there any more heirs present?
Not at
Not
this time,
present.
sir.
Yeah. $1,000 apiece.
What's the catch?
We would need to
It's a
move
lot of money
in.
for some scrub farmland.
It is, well, potentially great vantage
I
point
mean, we're
for us
not
to begin
anywhere-
mining more.
Mr. Thorne, I want to use I have an ability called
Okay.
Friendly Advice.
Sure. Okay, how does that work?
It says I know my friends' strengths and weaknesses and how to motivate them to succeed. When you give an ally a suggestion involving their next action, the character is trained in the action for 1 round.
Okay.
So I want to go.
Which ally are you suggesting then?
I'm gonna do it to Essie since she's fronting this conversation.
Okay.
I go, Essie, I think that we might want to remind the good Mr. Thorne about manners around a grieving family. To try and give her advantage to tell him to like buzz off.
Ooh, do you have to do anything to activate that?
I have to spend an intellect point.
All right, do it.
Oh.
That's beautiful.
And while we're kind of standing here, I want to do one of my abilities, which I have to spend 2 intellect points for. And I observe or study a creature, object, or location for at least 1 round, which I have done. The next time you interact with it, possibly in the following round, a related task, such as persuading the creature, attacking it, or defending from its attack, is eased.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
I'm just like, what is up with this dude?
All right. I think it's a fair offer. More than fair, actually, for, as you said, a bit of scrubland.
Almost.
I'm sorry, Mr. Thorne, but I
fair.
just don't see how this property can be useful to the Barrow Mining Company. You can't see anything from here. You can't see the railroad. You can't see the mine. It's so far off the beaten path.
No, never you mind. It's
understand.
not what you see about the future. It's what we see.
Well,
And
I appreciate the
$1,000
offer.
apiece.
it's very generous, but I'm sure you understand we need some time to consider our
Of
own
course.
next move and everything we're trying to do is to maintain our family position. So hope you don't take any offense, but we'd like to say, no, thank you.
Well, if you change your mind, I have an office in
I
town.
understand.
I'll leave my card. He smiles and reaches into his pocket, pulls out a card, and sets it on the front railing of the house.
Interesting. Well, I thank you. Thank you for taking your time out to come out here.
But of course. And my condolences.
Thank you.
try not to take too long to consider the offer.
Oh, you travel safe now.
Who knows what will happen? In the
Who
meanwhile.
knows?
And with that, he steps off the porch, heads back to his car. And Essie, you watch him carefully walk around the wards that your mama wove into the front walk, stepping only on the stones that lead up to that front porch.
Yep.
He gives you another bright-toothed smile and drives away into the night.
Well, girls, I think we're going to have to come up with a strategy sooner than later.
That's too much money for a place like this. They want it.
Well,
There's got to be something about it that they want.
mm-hmm.
Agreed.
What a funny little man.
Oh, come on, Louisa. You know that's one of Polly Barrow's hired dogs, I'm sure.
I don't give two spits about Hollow Barrel.
You should.
What have they ever done for us other than
Well, you know what they say about Polly.
It's
She's
not what
got
they've done for us. It's what
they could
own
do
in
to
town.
us.
Is Polly a God-fearing person?
No, she is
Polly is practically a god herself.
well, nobody knows that. No, what you do know is that Paula Barrow, when she does come through, is a representative
She
of
is
Barrow,
very frightening.
and she is a cultured big city woman who resides up in Pennsylvania most of the time, in Pittsburgh.
But there's rumors about her.
Well, perhaps.
I just wanted to know if I would have seen her at services.
Oh, not at service.
Okay.
No.
No. She does her own thing.
She does her own thing. She has her own services.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we best head up and search. We best find things to sell, at least to get the first month payment, and then we can figure out what to do from there.
Yeah, I think you're right about that one. That would at least buy us a little bit more time.
I'll start clearing the table if we're done with food for now.
I think so. Lily-Ruth, do you want to take any of those leftovers and make up a plate for Emmett? He's going to work tomorrow. He might need a good lunch.
As she hears this, she goes, Lily-Ruth and Emmett, huh? Oh, I remember how we used to dote on him.
Flora's gonna gently kick Louisa.
What?
Now.
It was a
He
cute.
did not.
It was a
He's
cute
dropping off my
girl
bike in the morning.
crush.
He's doing a good favor. You know he's been good to this family.
Oh, Emmett's a darling. Well, me and Flora used to go to school with Emmett. Man, remember when he chased Emmy Lou around with that frog?
Lily-Ruth's head's down, just like cleaning the table. Like,
Flora's gonna lean to Louise and be like, "She just saw him again. Give it a little bit. You're gonna make her be determined against it."
I'm
He
not
definitely
against
was
it.
looking.
Ooh, she could use a good man, and he's a good man.
That he is.
And then, in the same breath,
Essie's just thinking to herself, "What the hell does Louisa know about a good man?"
but in the same breath, Louisa also goes, "Some of us just turn into the man that we don't have in our lives," and just leaves.
I think
Lily-Ruth
she's
will.
gonna get beamed with a
Louisa gonna be
little bun
finding a
the
frog
back
in
of
her
the head.
bed.
Lily-Ruth's gonna make sure that she cleans out the borrowed ramekin, and uses that for, as you know, most of the plate of leftovers, and whatever's left, but so that she can clean the ramekin to take it back to work tomorrow.
Yep.
You clean that out, and as you do, the sound of laughter and family once again fills your mama's house. Well, Lily-Ruth, you've never been too good at keeping your eyes open. Which is why, as you're doing the dishes there at the sink, you're the last person who would have looked out the window and seen them shapes moving in the darkness, their skin glowing like burning coal, their teeth sharp as knives. And that's where we're going to call it for today, family.
Yeah, that seems right.
Love it.
The sound of my sisters just like squealing and play fighting in the
Flora
back.
and Louisa bickering.
Yes.
All right, so family, I hope you enjoyed that first episode of Old Gods of Appalachia. I'm going to give you all an extra experience point all around for being a believable family right off the get-go, because you did some stuff there that just curled my toes with glee.
Oh, it just worked. It just worked.
It was good. This is good.
We're just a family.
Just a family. Now, folks, if you like what you saw here, quick reminder that Dork Tales presents Old Goats of Appalachia. Old Goats of Appalachia. Dork Tales presents Old Gods of Appalachia is a Dork Tales production of the Deep Nerd Media property. The first people to see this were on our Patreon. And if you want to help us keep the lights on and the home fires burning, you can head over to patreon.com/dorktales, where for as little as $5 a month, you can help support the channel and get access to tons of additional content, not the least of which would be episode 2 of Old Gods of Appalachia, as well as Panic at the Radiant Citadel, Technocracy Zero Sum, and lots more. You even might get to hear a little bit more of my dog Charlie barking in the background sometimes. He's a good boy. And with that, folks, we'll be seeing you next time here. So consider joining the Patreon, supporting Dork Tales. At the very least, come back here for episode 2. We'll see you next time, family. Stay safe.
Pray to the fire, 'cause water has come. Pray to the east, where the traveler is from. Dine with their mining, in time read their soul. For about in this heaven is a topless hole.